We're going where you want to go so you can be where you need to be. It's Road Gang Radio with Lindsay Lawler and Jimmy Mac on RadioNemo.com.
He, by the way, is more than just a member of an iconic name. Country singer-songwriter Whey Jennings first emerged in 2012 as another naturally gifted singer from that tribe. He's got large boots to fill, but he's a recording artist and singer for Dirt Rock Empire. After a booming baritone voice as big as Texas, he has found himself with a few expectations to live up to. He has established his own musical legacy as one of the few remaining torch-bearing country traditionalists out there. Whey can instantly take his fans back to a time and a sound his grandfather Waylon and grandmother Jessie gave birth to in the 1970s, even with his own songs. He's got 3 studio recorded EP releases under his belt: 2020's Gypsy Soul, 2022 If It Wasn't for the Sinning, and 2023's Just Before the Dawn. By the way, Jekyll and Hyde is out as well. It came out in 2024. And guys, great songwriter. Harkens back to something earlier, something a little bit more primal, something got a little bit more edge to it. It's our absolute pleasure, Lindsay and I, to welcome Whey Jennings to the show. Good morning to you, sir. I don't have any complaints. I got Lindsay Lawler, who is my regular co-host and was actually on vacation and actually has jumped into the show because she never misses one. She's over right on the edge of Pigeon Forge. So say good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning. And Whey, I got to tell you, this is cool as a Nashville songwriter myself, listening to your music and especially listening to it. I'm in the Smoky Mountains right now, so I listened to it on the drive up here. I'll be listening to the drive home. You just scream like most authentic country as possible, and I want to kick off and ask you, because Whey, the majority of our audience are over the road truck drivers. And you do, to me, something really cool in your music, and I don't know if this is conscious or not, but you're able to play to play to the people and be as much Waylon as you are Whey. Like, you're able to, like, you hear notes of it, but you are not stepping into your grandfather's shoes saying, I'm just going to pick up where he left off. This is so authentically you, but just with like a little tip of the hat to Waylon. So how consciously are you kind of towing the line? Or are you just putting out what comes out that is you?
That's it. That's all I'm doing is putting out me. That's it. I love what I do, man. I really do.
Well, so what would you say then on that tip, to knowing that we have a lot of truck drivers out there who also obviously love your grandpa, but I know they're going to love this record and this music of yours as well. How does your music in your mind speak to those men and women out on the road? Because like I said, your record got me down the road, took up, an hour and a half off my drive. It's driving music, because it's for the hardworking American, and also what they do when they're not working, So how does your music speak to the truck driving community in your mind?
Well, I think it had a lot to do with me growing up with a family full of truck drivers. My mama's side of the family, both her brothers are truckers. My stepdaddy was a trucker, and I used to ride shotgun with him quite a bit. And I remember what kind of music we like to listen to going down the road. We always like to listen to different kinds of music, and that's why I put out all kinds of different kinds of music. It's because, sometimes you want to get where you're going, and sometimes you just want to get lost in a good old sad song, So, I like to put out driving country, but I also like to keep my own love for music open, too, because I love them old sappy songs, I always have and I always will. But, I know what I like, and I know what I'm able to do, and I know that, in order for me as an artist to be the best artist I can be, I have to be 100% authentic. And for me to try to do anything other than what's in my heart and soul wouldn't be that. So that's what I try to do.
I wanted to kind of jump in here because I'm actually, it became, like I said, I knew a little of you, and then over the course of the time, knowing you were coming, I got a chance to dig in. You and I have a couple of things in common in regards to knowing what it's like to see darkness before actually dawn kind of comes around, and I just kept thinking about that song, Just Before the Dawn. And to kind of bring this up in your own kind of spiritual journey, your own kind of emotional journey back towards light, it's not something you're afraid of kind of digging into. You've used both where you were to write songs when you were there. And what I found the most interesting thing, while I found, of course, you moving out of that compelling, I was really kind of interested that you already had begun to see it while you were writing songs, even when you were there, that you had a sense of, I've got to change this. And it was actually percolating in songs before you actually arrived at that place. Can you talk a little bit about the idea of working through stuff while you're working it out on stage and while you're working out the songs and the lyrics, if that makes sense, Whey?
Yeah, I mean, it's, the music business is, a lot of people look at it like it's just songs, you know what I mean? But it's really a journey, It's like, where you want to be, you're not there yet. You got two choices. You can either sit down or stand up, And what I wanted to do with my life was, and I didn't realize I wanted to do this with my life, is I wanted to find a purpose of some kind. Because for the longest time, I was just spinning my wheels and just, I got into the music business for the wrong reasons. I wanted to party, and I wanted to be able to, and that's just the end of it. But, the Lord showed me a way during the midst of it, and I'm thankful for that every day. He woke me up. He sent people that surrounded me, that loved me and cared for me. And, they sat me down and told me, you can't keep doing this to yourself. We're not going to watch you kill yourself no more. And, it happened to be a woman that I realized really quick that I couldn't live without. And my manager, who's like a mother to me, And, I said, okay. I went to rehab. And the funny thing about that is, I walked in this rehab and they gave me two choices. They said, you can either take a spiritual path or you can take a regular rehab path. And, I grew up always wrestling with God. My mama had a Bible open in our house on a shelf my entire life. And I'm sitting here staring at a Bible open on a shelf in my house because of that. And, whenever I was young, I was reading it for the right reasons. And then I got a little older and I started reading it, trying to prove it wrong. Because, at that point, I'd already started doing drugs and drinking, smoking cigarettes, skipping school and all that crazy stuff. And I just kept reading it and trying to prove it wrong. And, and if you can't prove it as wrong as high as I was getting, you can't do it. You know what I mean? Because you just can't. And I realized throughout the years that, that journey was laid out for me. It was laid out in a way that I needed to figure this out on my own. Because that's what I believe God wants for us. He don't want to just say, here's the answers. He wants us to seek him out. He wants us to seek out the answers on our own. And that's what I was given the ability to do. And while I was doing that, I was writing songs based on where I was at in my journey. You know what I mean? Gypsy Soul was where I was at before I found any kind of light in my life. And that's a song about just running around being an idiot, But just before the dawn, it was more of a, I just now figured something out, not it out, but something out, you know what I mean? And I started heading in the right direction. After that, we put out Sleeves. We put out, a whole album, Jekyll and Hyde. And I wanted to, kind of start that album out in the darkness and run it clean into the light. And that's what I did. I started it out in the darkness. And the last song on the album is Hallelujah, which was a song that brought all my kids home and really tightened the knot in my family quite a bit because we were able to sing that song on stage together. And it's given us a reason, to be around. And, it was a good icebreaker in the relationships between me and my children. And, this new album we got coming out is where I'm at today. I'm more of a happy father and husband and a man of faith. And, I still like to have a good time, and laugh and joke around and put out songs that are kind of rocking, but I also like to dive deep into the things that's meant the most to me in my life and the experiences I've had. So that's where that's how I do my songwriting, is I surround myself with like-minded people, and we accomplish a goal that I've set for myself and what kind of music I'm really trying to put out to the world today. And that's where I'm at,
Lindsay?
I think that, yeah, Whey, I just think it's so great, thankful for you being open about your battle with addiction and faith and family and how all those things and music have carried you through. And I hate to speak for my co-host here, but as a guy as well who he is sober 30 years and certainly has good family and friends who have carried him through, or he's seen who are the good ones who are still there on the other side of it. I think these conversations are really important, and I'm always curious to people as writing songs myself in Nashville for so many years. I'm over my partying days as well. And, but it's certainly changed my songwriting, not necessarily for good or bad, but it's more so not even the content so much as the presence I have, and I'm able to be sitting writing a song, or by the way, even remember the songs I've written. So there's that. So I'm curious to you how sobriety how it informs your songwriting now, and what you're able to tap into that you weren't able to tap into prior.
Well, I mean, I think before I was more of a surface songwriter. You know what I mean? I would come up with words, I'd lay them down, and it'd be about, partying or running around or just doing something. Like, there was some deep songs there, don't get me wrong, but it was more surface. And it was like I poured my heart out on a page, the words rhymed, that's the end. It's good,
Yeah.
But now that I'm sober and I'm trying to revisit these moments and rewrite new songs about these things, I find that, going in and fine-tuning your feelings and your thoughts and searching them again for yourself, you know what I mean? Because when you're on drugs and you're drinking all the time, you know what I mean? You're on those drugs and drinking to numb yourself from the pain you felt from the experiences you're writing about. You know what I mean? When you get sober, the first thing you got to do is face your fears and take that pain in and experience it. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, you're still just running from the pain, and you're leaving yourself open to go right back into the same addictions you had. Best thing you can do is face your fears, sober as a judge, and figure out exactly how you feel about the situation, and sit down and write and work it out. Where it would take you maybe 30 minutes to write a song, maybe it'll take you 30 days to write a song because you're going that deep with it. It's like, it's what do you want to be? What do you want to be remembered as? What do you want to be known for? And do you want what you're known for to be a surface level writer, or somebody who's just, this is the way I felt at that moment, here, get it away from me kind of writer? Or this is something I've lived with for some time, and I've really thought it out. I've put in the work to realize exactly how I feel about it. And this is what I've come up with as far as my art that I'm giving to you to, consume now,
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how I feel about those certain things. But when you're sitting down and write with other people, it may take a couple hours to write a good song because you got somebody else to bounce it off of. You don't have to take your time and sit there and soak it in. You're having a conversation while you're writing instead of having this long thought out process when you're writing by yourself. You know what I mean? So there's a few different ways we've gone about it. There's a few different ways on how to write a song, in my opinion. And I feel like as long as it's authentic, true, and it comes from your heart, and it comes from, maybe a brainstorm of hearts, then it's really good, usually,
Whey, I wanted to also tell you, because I think I can speak to this a little bit as well. I always feel like that when you're in the throes of whatever is troubling you, when you're trying to hold off and trying to avoid truth, anything good you write, it simply bubbles up to the surface. Means it's something that's so down there and so awful that it has to make its way up to the surface. Once you get to a place where you actually have faced your demons, you can then dive deep to go get that stuff. And that's the difference. You made that point about writing on the surface. Every once in a blue moon, something makes its way up there because it just can't be held down. But what happens is when you get clean, and I mean this with everything, I don't just mean from drugs or booze or anything else. When you get honest with yourself, you're able to go down into that darkness and pull stuff back up to the surface in a way that you couldn't before. Is that the same kind of thing you're really getting at here?
That's exactly what I'm getting at, yeah. I mean, yeah, of course you're going to find stuff on the surface, and of course you're going to have some gifts from God that just write themselves right off the bat. But I'm talking about me personally and my writing experience. The thing about it is I was hurting for a lot of years, and I was trying really hard to cover that hurt up, So when I was writing a song, I would spend a lot of time with it because it hurt that much, So the best thing to do is to get over that hurt, is what I'm trying to say, and use that as a tool in your writing process. Instead of not wanting to write about something because it hurts too much to think about it, swim in it a little bit, You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you can't write a song. You can't write on a song from the surface because, of course, you're going to have gifts from God. There are songs that just write themselves, right off the bat. But what I wanted to do was not be afraid of myself anymore. I wanted to be able to face anything in my life and do it sober. You know, I mean, that's kind of what kept me sober. I've been sober now going on 6 years.
Congratulations.
And it's because, you know, I went into the depths. I went into the bars where people were drinking and drugging. And I was in there and I was playing music, and I was able to drink water and leave, you know, and I put myself in situations that tempt me on purpose so that I can beat that situation. You know what I mean? And,
wow.
you know, that's been my process, you know.
That shift, I appreciate that. Jim is great about that. He doesn't. He says his biggest compliment is when people he's been friends with for several years all of a sudden realize he's been in the bar without a drink in his hand, and you're not being the quote unquote downer. I think that's what shifts the narrative and helps people realize they can be whatever they are, because it's the kind of peer pressure behind the drink, and you think, I know at least in Nashville it feels like, oh, I got to drink. It's the one industry where they sort of encourage you to drink on the job, and that becomes a really tricky thing. So by changing that one step at a time, one person at a time, I think that's a beautiful thing. So congratulations to you, and thank you for being present through it and going through it. And I just want to say real quick, I host another show, Whey, called We Should Write.
Get him on.
About the healing
Get him
power
on.
of writing. And I would love for you to come on and dive deep about the healing power of writing with me sometime, if you would be able. I'm asking you on the air, so you can't say no, by the way.
Well, then I just won't say nothing. No, he's playing. No, I'd love to. I really would.
That would be awesome. I'd love it. Well, okay, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, since it's obviously Thanksgiving week. I'd love to know from you what's the Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday because it just means like sitting around a fire with music and food and family, and it's sweatpants, and it's chill amidst the chaos. It's chill. But I would love to know from you, what was Thanksgiving for you like growing up? Was your grandpa around? Was family around? Were friends? What was Thanksgiving like then? And also, how do you guys celebrate it now in the beautiful, healthy place that you are in life now?
Well, Thanksgiving's on my dad's side were always really cool, man. We had them in my grandfather's house. We'd all get together and have a huge meal and play games and stuff like that. It was always like also with Easter, we do like this egg hunt kind of thing at Easter. It's like there was always some kind of an activity to go along with the holidays growing up. But on my mom's side, we wake up in the morning, and it was just like a house full of different smells. It was like, what are all these yums? So we get up and we look through the kitchen of what's going on. And my mom was cooking, really kind of molded me into what I like today as far as food. And I got married up here in Pennsylvania, and I moved from the south to the north. And my wife cooked Thanksgiving dinner, and I was like, "Where's the cornbread stuffing?" Because I was like, "Where's that? How come nobody's got no cornbread stuffing up here?" So we got together and realized that they don't do cornbread stuffing up north. So we looked up all the recipes we could find for cornbread stuffing. We tried a few of them, and they just wasn't right. And then we found one that just came out perfect. You know, I mean, it was like, yep, that's my mama's stuffing right there. So we've used Thanksgiving to really kind of unite our marriage in a way. It's like, not just Thanksgiving, but cooking in general, but it was Thanksgiving that started it. You know, I mean, we took everything she learned from her father, the things that I've learned from my mother, and the things that she's learned from our families, you know what I mean, and kind of made it our own. And now our entire family is always at our house for Thanksgiving. So we're starting baking today, all the like pumpkin rolls and cookies and stuff like that. And then tomorrow morning we'll get up and we'll start cooking the stuffing and the turkey and the cranberry relish, and I got all kinds of different people in my family bringing different sides, and we just use it to get together and, you know, kind of, you know, spark our lives as far as cooking, because cooking really saved everything that we've got as a family, because that's what we do together. We cook. And, you know, Thanksgiving gives us the perfect time to be able to do that.
Whey, I want to ask you to say it again one more time. Did you say, "What's all this yum"? Is that how you put it?
Yeah, what's all this yum? Yeah, yeah.
I got to tell you, man, I don't know anything about songwriting, guys, but if somebody doesn't write a song that's entitled "What's All This Yum," I feel like something's been lost in the world, dude. Because in one sentence you just captured what it's like to wake up in my mom's house on right before my mom does the Halloween party way, and I swear to God, you wake up and you would think that somebody unleashed a fall fiesta of smells in the house, and you just come racing down the stairs looking for pumpkin pie and beef brisket and all kinds of other stuff. I know what's all this yum, Lindsay. Who, God Almighty, do I know what's all this yum? Good. All right, let me ask you something.
You also know don't.
Go ahead.
Jim, you also know don't yuck my yum.
Don't yuck my
that's
yum.
a great one around.
Yeah, don't yuck my yum.
Yeah, that's what my wife says. Don't yuck my yum. That's my wife says that.
I wanted to ask you, by the way, in regards to, because you got so many possibilities. One of the things about walking into the light is that you're able to see everything that is possible. Is there anything that you are looking to do as an artist, as a creator, where I'd like to take a shot at doing that? And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to just be music. Is there anything you want to take a crack at in the future in all the imaginative stuff that you're cooking up along with food with your family?
You know, I just want to put out music that changes the direction of things. You know what I mean? I want people to love each other. That's it. You know what I mean? I just want people to love each other and realize that other people love them, you know? But I also want to put out music that just makes people laugh too, you know? And that's what I'm probably going to do on this next album. I'm just going to make it a completely 100% fun album. You know them albums that like Toby Keith used to put out that was just like a bunch of funny songs?
Yeah.
Like that? Like, because I feel like people need to have a good time and laugh right now. You know, everybody's just a little bit too serious. While I also believe everybody needs to come to Jesus meeting, I also believe everybody needs to laugh a little more. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
It can't be too serious all the time. You know what I mean?
We have to be someplace between heaven and mirth. I think people forget that a lot of the time, you know? It's just like that.
I feel like you're right, man.
Yeah. That laughter is often a good route to the kingdom of heaven. I can't believe that the good JC didn't walk the earth. I mean, I'm sure that he actually was able to make the people around him from time to time laugh. And there are a couple of his stories that probably made people laugh in that sort of knowing way as well, too. I'm sorry, Lindsay. I know you got some stuff. Go ahead and fire away at Whey.
No, you're right. I'm with you on the balance of it all. I've actually been personally inspired just listening to you myself, Whey, because I get in my head about like, okay, if this is how I am in the world now, then I have to write like that. But it's like I still have memories of you can still write about the fun times.
You mean being an idiot?
As fun as I ever was. I'm still as fun as I ever was. Yeah. So it's fun. I think it's just great when you get to a place and. I mean, Whey, I was just baptized a few weeks ago, and that has given me it energetically cleared. Thank you, thanks, friend. It just cleared a lot of space. I mean, I've always been a believer, but I just needed personally that sort of energetic reset to just clear some space and have my own kind of proclamation of what's next. So, I'm as well as our listeners. I know everybody's very inspired hearing this from you, and thank you, Jesus, that. With all you've done and all you've seen and who your family is and where you come from, that you are as good of a man as you are today. And I know that's by the grace of God, as you say. So, but speaking of being out on the road, you're touring. You've got the album that came out last year with new music coming again. Let's talk a quick few lightning round road things because we want to know what your go-to snacks and road drinks are, because our truckers are always looking for inspiration of what to eat and drink on the road. So how do you keep yourself sustained on the road, my friend?
Well, I like to find a good steakhouse whenever I can. You know, so I eat a lot of meat. You know what I mean? If it ain't a steakhouse, I like wraps over burgers because, you know, the less carbs, the better. I like to eat healthy, but I don't like to just go right into the rice cakes. You know what I mean? I like to eat. I like to eat a balance between healthy and tasty. You know what I mean? If it tastes good, it's good. And as long as it's something healthy and tastes good, and you can have some ice cream every once in a while, you know. But me, I like to eat what I can burn off, and I like flavor, you know what I mean, and sustenance. I like to know that in my opinion, the more fruit you eat and the fresher you eat, the more energy you have. You know what I mean? I don't like food that bogs me down because I'm always busy. So I eat wraps more than I eat like burgers and with bread. You know what I mean? I stay away from sugar as much as possible. I drink a lot of water, and it's like beef jerky. I eat a lot of beef jerky. I try to stay away from processed food as much as possible, but even though that's not really possible, because usually when you get off stage, you got like Waffle House and Taco Bell. Pick one. So, yeah, that's one thing I'd like to do is be able to start a chain restaurant that's got good food, that serves really good food, that's open enough. It's open late enough at night that musicians can eat. You know what I mean? Because we get kind of thrown under the bus when it comes to getting food, dinner at night on work nights. Yep. Because as soon as we get done, kitchen's closed. Usually about 30 minutes before we get done, the kitchen's closed. Yeah. I never understood that. But we need to open up something where musicians can eat. And that's all there is to it.
Listen, Whey, I got to tell you real quick. Just if you're in the market to actually open it, might I suggest that it's called Show Me the Whey, W-H-E-Y. You can use that. I won't even take a percentage.
All right. Sounds good.
Whey.
Yeah. A friend of mine says I should call it the Whey Station.
That's pretty good, too. That's pretty good, too.
There you go.
Listen, we're going to run out of time here really quickly, so we wanted both of us to take a moment to wish you the happiest of Thanksgivings, to congratulate you on your journey, not just to artistic success, but to life success. And if there's anything else you want to leave our listeners with before you shuffle off this radio coil, please do so now, my friend.
Well, I just want to tell you have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and enjoy your time with your families. Love one another. Be sure to show a little praise to God, because He's the reason we're here doing this. And just try to help somebody this holiday season. You see somebody that's down and out a little bit, lift them up, feed them something. Have some good times, man. And enjoy your family, because we don't get to see them as much as we should. And when we do see them, we should spend our time loving each other and not fighting too much.
Whey Jennings, by the way, can be found at wheyjennings.com, on the Instagram at Whey Jennings, at Facebook at W.A. Jennings, of course, Whey Jennings on the X, formerly known as Twitter, and on the Tube of You at Whey Jennings. Thank you, Whey. Best of days. Go ahead, Lindsay. Tell him goodbye.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving, Whey. I will be stalking you to be on We Should Write. You have made our day and our audience as well, so best to you, my friend. We're thankful for you.
Thank you so much. I'm thankful for y'all, too. God bless you.